Hello there. In this video, I will be showing you a couple of ways to connect to a PostgreSQL database. The first is via an interactive SQL shell, which is a terminal. It's called psql. And the second option is by a GUI. GUI basically is a graphical user interface using the pgadmin tool. Let's try and connect to a PostgreSQL database using the psql tool. The psql is an interactive terminal program provided by PostgreSQL, so you can do a lot with it. For example, you can execute SQL statements, you can manage database objects, and so on. So let's try and play around with the tool and connect to the database. The first thing we need to do is launch the PSQL program, and you launch that from the PostgreSQL folder. So if you expand the folder and if you scroll down, you should see the SQL shell, which is PSQL. So if you click to launch the shell, so this is the shell. So the first thing you need to do basically is provide answers in different steps just by pressing tab or enter on your keyboard. So if you press enter, it will give you the name of the database. You press enter again, it will give you the port it is listening to. You press enter again, it will give you the username. Press enter and it will prompt you for a password. So you enter the password that you specified during the installation of PostgreSQL. Once you enter the password, if it's correct, it will give you this screen, and you can see you've got the hash symbol next to the Postgres, which means it is waiting for some instructions. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in a very simple SQL statement to determine the version of PostgreSQL. So you just type in select and then you do a space, type in version. So make sure you wrap the version number in parentheses, opening and closing, and then you terminate it with a semicolon. Press enter. It will give you the version. So you can see here, this simple statement has given me the version of PostgreSQL. So you can see from here, this statement has returned one row. So we've successfully connected to the PostgreSQL database. To exit out of the program, all you need to do is hit Ctrl and C, and you will get a prompt asking you to terminate. Just hit yes and press enter, and that will terminate the program. So let's take a look at a second method we can use to connect to a PostgreSQL database using the pgadmin tool. This tool is a GUI application. That means it is a graphical user interface that you can see things in a graphical way. To access the pgadmin tool, you need to open up the PostgreSQL folder by expanding it, and you should see the pgadmin4 tool. Just click to launch the tool. It's an administrative tool, so we'll give it a few minutes to fully launch. So this is what the pgadmin tool looks like. When you launch it, you have to select an object in the tree view. This is the tree view, so you click on the plus to expand it. You can see a red cross there, which means you have not connected to the server. So if you just click on it, it will give you this pop-up box to enter your password to connect to the server. If you don't want to enter the password each time, you could click on save, but I wouldn't recommend that. It's not really a good practice, although it's okay if you're working in your own environment, but it's good to develop good practices right from the start. So I'm not going to save the password. I'm just going to enter the password I entered during the installation of the database. So I'll click OK, and you can see here it tells me the server is connected, so I can now access the database objects. You can see if I expand that, you can see all the various objects belonging to the database. We can quickly run a very basic query to test that we can communicate with the database. So in this view tree here, under databases, make sure you've got the Postgres database selected, and then under tools, click on the query tool. The query tool is where you'll execute your query. So let's type in a simple query. So I'll do select, I'll do a space, I'll type in version, and then wrap it round parentheses, and then I will add a semicolon. So this, if you just press this here, this little symbol that looks like a lightning ball, and that will execute the query for you. All right, so it has now executed the query. So if you put your mouse over the output here, you can see the output that was returned, which is this text displayed there. So we've successfully been able to determine the version of the Postgres database from a very simple query. To exit the pgadmin tool, you just click on the X, and it will ask you a prompt. Are you sure you want to leave? Just say leave, and that exits the application. You can also connect to a PostgreSQL database from other applications. So any applications that supports the ODBC driver or the JDBC driver can be used to connect to a Postgres database server. In addition, if you develop an application that uses an appropriate driver, the application can connect to the PostgreSQL database server using that driver. So let me quickly explain what ODBC and JDBC is. ODBC stands for Open Database Connectivity. It is an open standard application programming interface, which is API, that is used for accessing a database. JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity, which is an application programming interface as well, API, for programming language Java. There's a programming language called Java. So it defines how a client can access a database. So it's basically a Java-based data access technology used for Java database connectivity. In this video, you have learned how to connect to Postgres database server by using different client tools, which included psql and pgadmin tool. Okay, I also briefly introduce you to ODBC and JDBC. So these are APIs that can be used to connect to Postgres database from other applications. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.